There we go. We're in. Welcome back to
Here we
another
are.
thrilling episode. I know, right? We are on episode, what is it now? 40. The big 4-0. Closing in on nearly a full year. Not long until a full year, actually, of these awful, awful Monday afternoons. Monday evenings. No. We've got a lot of stuff in store today. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And by a lot of stuff, I mean bugger all. No, we've got stuff to talk about. Obviously, there's always
Really?
things to talk about. Yeah, of course there is. The obvious things, as we always do at this moment in this time of year, the first thing we talk to, of course, is about the visions. And as we are probably all abundantly aware at this point, we are now, is it 3.5, 4 weeks without visions now, basically? What do you reckon, Carlo?
Near vision. What happened to Melisandre? She headed off from Dragonstone up to the White Walkers or something? She on a boat? She on a real time boat?
No
No
idea.
more visions and flames.
I mean, there's lots of other things we can be talking about. Lots of other things going on. You know, the game isn't just completely dead. But I mean, what's your take on this? I mean, it's Simon now have effectively been silent for a month. Bearing in mind they've been hyping up this patch for the best part of 6. Is this not slightly concerning that the month in what we believe is going to be the lead up to the release is actually the quietest they've been since the whole build up? Do you not think that's weird? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't expect anything from them now until the 2021 balance comes. I don't expect us to receive any more visions at all. Whether or not they just ran out of things to say, ran out of topics to cover, thought that they would have released by now. You know, these are all basically that's my assumption. My assumption is that they thought they would have released it by now, and that they plan to put these things together, and now they're like, well, it is not out and we've got nothing left to say. Or not necessarily nothing left to say, but it's to go and put together an article on a new topic which you haven't come up with an idea for takes time away from the fact that you're already late, so stop wasting time on things. Is maybe their own like thought process, their own methodology, which is like, you know, time to just shut up or put up, and they're just trying to get the changes out as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an odd one. It definitely is an odd one. I'm not really 100% sure what the plan is here. I've just completely messed everything up. There we go. Carlo recently became a shared screen. No, I don't know what their plan is. I agree. I think a lot of people in chat saying the leaks have affected visions. I don't know.
Convenient excuse.
Yeah, exactly. Convenient excuse more than anything else, right? Convenient excuse more than anything else. I don't think that Visions is the. I don't think that that's the problem. I'll be honest. I wonder if they'd have gone silent regardless of the leaks. Why would you choose to go silent if the articles are already made like they suggest? These articles are written massively in advance. What they're saying is now they're choosing not to release them, or they're choosing not to write anymore. I firmly believe you don't hold content back if you've already got it written, right? Not from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
They're not that savvy actually. I don't believe that they're that savvy enough. Yeah.
If they truly have written these in the past, you know, like some time ago, and then they take time to process them, then, you know, that absolutely. I don't believe that it does take that long to write one of these articles. You know, like.
No.
But bigger companies obviously takes time to like move things through all the cogs and the machinery and get it like up online, all that kind of stuff. But if they truly did write them some time ago, and they believed that they'd written enough to cover them up until the date where the faction packs would be out, and then the faction packs are delayed, then they're not going to have anything left to release in that time. If it truly does take them a significant amount of time to turn around these things, then, like when they were at their busiest trying to make sure that faction packs were released in a timely fashion, they're not going to stop and start writing more articles.
Yeah.
But I still can't buy this idea that it takes, that an article doesn't have a 1 week turnaround.
Yeah. I guess this leads us on to conveniently the next point a little bit, which is something that people are a little bit worried by. With Greyjoys being released in the UK, and we'll talk about the Greyjoys, obviously, we talked about it last week, we'll talk them again in a little bit. With Greyjoys being released in the UK, Mother of Dragons, Mammoths, that kind of coming out in the UK at least. I don't know if the rest of Europe's had those yet. I think they have. But these obviously delays in the US. The big question on a lot of people's minds now comes back to something we've talked about before. In that, if they completely bumble the release of the faction packs, we are into serious bad news territory. And as things stand, I think a lot of people are very worried that is exactly what we're in the treat for. We are in prime season for those faction packs to have problems, because nobody believes the release schedule for all of the stuff that's supposed to be coming in the US in May. And if the faction packs are part of that problem, then we're in a really bad time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are really nervous about there not being enough stock of the faction packs, people not being able to buy, like not being able to get hold of the cards they need to play the latest edition. And then what you're supposed to do, like not everybody wants to print off cards, even if they're available in War Council. The reason why these like tactics deck changes have been pushed off so much is that there is a certain physical aspect to drawing cards, playing cards, that not everybody wants to sleeve their cards and put in like changes over the front of it and stuff like that. You can make changes to a unit and everybody knows that. You just look in the War Council app and everybody knows what a few changes to a few units are. But every time you draw a card, if you have to think, oh wait, is that the real rule or is it a totally different card? Am I going to have to use am I going to have to use Wealth of the Rock as Subjugation of Power or whatever? I forget what the new name is. Am I going to have to remember that card is that card? And so it becomes almost impossible to play a good game of 2021 balance if not both players have their updated packs.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm not able to buy them, but other people are, then we're in a much, much worse limbo state than we were in terms of like, is 2021 rulebook out or not? As soon as some people have new decks and other people don't, not just because they don't know what's going on, but they can't buy them, then you're in an absolute terrible situation for like people trying to run tournaments, people trying to play games in general, people trying to have events. And it's just it really needs the physical release of these cards and these faction packs to go smoothly, and for there to be enough stock and for them to be available worldwide, without like people then trying to buy up stock from another country to import it. I mean, if they're released early in Europe and the Americans want to buy them and end up taking all the European stock and having them shipped over, or in reverse, they're out in the US, everybody in the UK and the rest of Europe is buying them from the US and having them shipped over. But then it's like, well, it's whoever managed to get hold of them from that other country, and everybody around them doesn't have them. So like, you really, really hope that they get the release right, and everything leading up to it right now doesn't look great.
No. And Daniel in chat says the right kind of thing. The really, we're all sitting here hoping the game bounces back, and I think it will to some extent. I'm not going to say complete doom and gloom. I think it will bounce back, and we've seen that, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about in the news as well a little bit later on. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like the online community, as we know, the players who are serious about the game, the ones we've always taken as the more serious players in general, the ones who are always more keen, Of course, that's not necessarily true, but it's certainly, I think, is a generalization we can use. Even that activity has gone down. We'll talk about that, obviously, as things go on. So, yeah. Okay. So, that's the Visions. That's where we're at the Visions. It's not looking great. But news-wise, there's quite a little bit of news to go through. And we're going to start off with some properly weird news to start ourselves off with. Right? And this is kind of like the moral of
conspiracy theory.
This episode is all about this kind of weird and wonderful thing. If in case you didn't know, we typically get about 300 people watch these after the live show. So I know there's 20 people watching live now, or 22. Hey, great to have you all here. But yeah, we have about 300 people who watch this after the fact, and not everyone will necessarily know what's happened. This is properly bizarre, but also amazing. So, dive into it. Here's our first lovely little piece. A bloke called Woj, I think is Woj. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation here. Wojciech. He is actually kind of relatively.
Isn't that pronounced Wojciech?
It might be Wojciech. Yeah, it might be Wojciech. Wojciech is relatively prominent on. I think he's from Poland. I think he was relatively prominent on some of the, and he's actually a little bit on the Facebook. I know that I've had conversations with him on Facebook around rules or around like army lists and things like that. Anyway, point is, he sent an email to Simon to War Council through the War Council support thing, I think it was, saying like, when are we going to expect to hear anything from the War Council app? Because basically, people in my area have stopped playing and it's bad. Right? He sent this little email. And this is a genuine response he got from a guy called Lucas. We're going to call him a community guy from Simon. We have no idea who Lucas is. Never a name that everyone's heard of. But let's just appreciate...
Never heard of Lucas.
Lucas, for first of all, his logo. I know you can't see it. Let's make it super big for a moment. His logo is the Black Lotus. The infamous Black Lotus from the old Magic the Gathering. So if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering, you'll know what that is. So the guy's clearly into his card games. And he sent this reply. So let's just have a quick read of that. It's we've had manufacturing and distribution issues, which are still ripple effects from COVID around the world. Yeah, okay, fair enough. There are still ripple effects of that happening. Fair enough. We are anticipating the War Council app update to mitigate this problem, though. Okay. We expect this app update to be published in approximately 2 weeks. What? Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come back to that in a second.
Nice one, Lucas.
I hope that serves as some comfort to you and your playgroup. Thank you for your patience and support. Let me know if I can be of further assistance. Lucas from Simon Incorporated, based in GA, USA.
Yeah.
Hang on, let's just roll that back.
Lucas, our savior. Like,
with one, and I kid you not, with one email, Lucas has quite literally given us more information about an actual release date and an actual kind of like a firm thing to go on than the people who've been communicating the update. Like, I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say.
The real question is what do we do with let me know if I can be of any more assistance? What else can we ask Lucas? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, like, Lucas, mate, when are the red cloaks coming out? Like, that's what I want to ask. Like, Lucas, when are Martells? Please tell me about that. Like, what does Lucas know? And how much stuff is he gonna give us?
I mean, yeah,
this guy.
I will be freely open and honest here. This is actually something that is worth remembering. Lucas is in the credits of the rulebook, right? I did look his name up at the time. I've got the rulebook here just up in front of me, just in case I'd forgotten. He comes under as one of the proofreaders, right? So Lucas is one of the proofreaders as accredited in the rulebook for the game. So he is a real person.
Does work for Simon.
He does work for Simon. He's literally accredited. We do know that he is involved. If you're not sure, you can go and check out the 2021 version of the rulebook, and I believe he's in there. So I mean, I think we can trust whether we can trust his opinion. I think is not actually a question. I think we can trust what he's saying. The weird thing is, why? Why is it taken
Big
a
doubt. Big
random
doubt for me.
person? But why is it taking a random person to send a random email base? Basically, it's like, oh, when's stuff coming out? And someone's gone, now, or this time. To which point I start to say,
To be fair, has anybody asked?
yeah, has anybody actually
but I mean,
straight
like,
up
really?
sent an email?
Has anybody asked? I mean, like, when they do the live Q&As with the developers always like, oh, you're not allowed to ask about release dates, but they don't say like you can't send us an email.
But this is kind of
it's
like
crazy.
This is the point where we really have to. I mean, it sounds like we always Simon bash, but we really just have to be really confused here. And I was just like, if all we have to do is ask, that's fine and all. But surely your job is to communicate this basic information. Come on, like this is like one of these people. Like, we
no,
got
but
you.
really, what are we going to ask Lucas next?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
what is the community? What is the community going to ask Lucas next? Like,
you could ask anything. Like, I actually genuinely think you could ask anything. Now, do I think we should ask anything? No, I don't think we should. But, right, this for me, this is a dangerous precedent. It says a dangerous precedent because we can't rely on the marketing team to market the game. So the most of us are now going to say, right, if we want to know anything, just send them an email and ask. To which point, Simon are now going to get hundreds, thousands of emails with hundreds, thousands of different questions, some of which will be the same. And they're going to respond? Or are they not going to respond? Or what? Or are they just going to give up? Are they just going to do the old forum trick and go, nope, let's not bother with that anymore? And the email just becomes a dead weight. I don't know how to deal with this because, like, it just seems ridiculous.
Crazy.
They have a literal formal like article or situation where we believe they're going to communicate officially, and then you can just do this. Like, fine, whatever. Yeah. Craig in chat. I asked the team on Facebook if they needed help making a communications department, but they didn't respond. So the answer to that question is yes, they do. So yeah, Ilya's saying the dude just went casual up to the gates of Mordor and asked what's up.
Yeah. I mean, on the same kind of, it's not exactly the same department, the same kind of theme. You know, the London GT organizers been asking for a month and a half for a response from Simon, and like, you know, Simon organized play Europe division at least. No response. Like, I mean, not so long ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, after like a month's wait, they responded and didn't answer any of the questions that were asked. Like, I mean, honestly, Lucas, can Lucas reply to our organized play email? Because that'd be great. That'd be great. Like, just let us know. Let us know what's up, Lucas.
I actually, like, for what it's worth, Lucas's response, I actually really like the tone of his email. Like, I would almost call him it sounds crazy, but having trained people who work in customer service, there's a lot of people in customer service who are crap at it. Lucas actually comes across as somebody who you kind of like. It would be fine to have him as the other end of the phone, other end of the email, because he sounds like a genuine kind of like, I want to help, but this is all I've got. I don't know. There is a lot of talk in Nod Nerd. Every time I want to say Knob Nerd, and I shouldn't because that's not your name. But I'm pretty sure you've done that done that deliberately. But Nod Nerd, they do care about the game. I believe they do. I genuinely believe they do care about the game. But their way of caring about it is not the way that we as the community would have liked to see. They're also caught, you know, I do understand the argument of, too many updates, too much communication, people lose off track. I get that. Like, I don't agree. You know, I'm allowed to disagree, but I understand you've got to not just keep us happy, but a lot of people. But there's also been Marvel United, right? And Marvel United has been a massive release for them, and they're still promoting it like day in, day out. I don't give a shit.
I don't like it.
I don't give a shit about
it. There's loads of Marvel games up there, and that was the one I like the least.
I'm not a fan of the chibi style miniature thing. I've never taken I'm not I would freely admit I'm like not an anime kind of guy. It doesn't mean I hate anime. It's just I've never been taken to it, so that style's just never. But yeah. Um, did I ever get the stats for how
Sorry,
many
what's this
points?
question, Jesse?
Yeah.
Is that like the average cost of a used NCU? What's the average or the average spent on the NCUs?
No, we were
Did I
looking
miss
at.
a question that I?
No. I was talking with Jesse about this, and I was going to look up some stats, and I did start, but I was only using a small proportion of the data we've got. I was looking at the ratio win rate of 2 NCU versus 3 NCU, but taking into account activation advantage. So if there was a one unit activation advantage, then it's hard to separate the win rate of 2 versus 3 versus say 8 versus 9, because obviously we already know one activation advantage is by definition higher.
They're intertwined.
Yeah. It's really hard to take it apart. You on it with the small data set that I've got that I can analyze, and there was no significant trends from what I saw, but I was only looking at a very small data sample. I think the overall games where it came out, I think it was like 20, and that's all I had to go on anyway. So yeah, in answer to your question, Jesse, I never did find that out based on the information I've got. We could probably run a check on the site, but it would require a lot of effort to go to. Yeah.
That's why when you want stats info, you don't go to Mickey. Like.
Well, I don't have all the data.
Small
That's
fry.
the thing.
Yeah, I don't share it with nobody.
No.
It's all mine.
All mine's bloody pre stats data. So all the stats that I was having to take for Carlo before the site could actually handle it. That's great for a stats site. That's really clever, isn't it? So no.
Always existed. Yeah, no, right? Things once upon a time weren't there. The dark days.
Yeah. Right, anyway, we'll move on to the other bit of news, and the other bit of news is kind of like a bit of a shout out again to the guys. It's the guys over at Tabletop Warden. They're still doing their Great John Umber giveaway for the old sculpt. They've had a couple of entries. There's some really interesting stuff actually over there. I do recommend you going over there and checking it out. So yeah, there's nothing much really to say about that. It's just going well, and bartender Yannick and Ilya have had some great little entries. Quite a few. I think they've had like at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 entries, something like that, kind of ballpark, by a mixture of different people. And there's some really cool ideas in there actually, including a great card name which I saw the other day. If I'm just trying to find it again, yeah. How about this for a card name? Fury in the Face of Death. I don't think that's pretty awesome. Someone's come up with that. I love that.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's honestly cool. What about the average points that are spent on NCUs? Jesse, without knowing that at all, I would probably guess at about 11 or 12. I probably imagine it's about 11.
No
11.
way. No way.
Average on NCUs?
No.
11.
Entirely wrong.
Is it not going to be 10 or something like 8?
No, it's got to be like 9.
Might be 9.
It's going to be like 9.
Is that because it's brought down by the fact 2 NCUs?
Because of NCU commanders, number of NCU commanders. There are people who run 2 NCUs, stuff like that. Like, yeah, it won't be 12.
No,
it'll be about 9.
We could probably look that up though. I can probably do that as a cross section from the data I've got.
I'm not a designer. I'm not a designer, Ilya. You know what I mean? Like, I've never ever claimed to have been able to make balance. I measure balance.
I'm calling out Carlo massively here, right? Because before lockdown, Carlo was actually writing his own game based on was it like Darkest Dungeon style, like rule set and things like that. I can't remember. So yeah, the guy says, "Oh, I can't design," and the guy says, "Oh, I can't balance." Bollocks. He just chooses not to for song. But yeah. Oh, tough meat card. Love that idea, Kevin. That was a great idea. Right. Also meant in winning lists. I'll talk to me after. Send me an email. Send me not a Discord message even, or we can chat on Discord about exactly what we want to do, because I can have a look at it and I can just harangue Carlo if there's any data I don't have. He won't do it, but I can still bother him about it. Anyway, right. So yeah, go check out the Tabletop Warden stuff. The other stuff we've got is kind of like just. I thought I'd just throw these up. We've had him on before, but Vlad sent me a load of pictures yesterday night, I think it was, about a load of Stark stuff he's been painting up. Vlad, LF12 as he's known on the on our Discord over in NRG Discord. But Vlad doing great work as usual. I know he watches the show. Just painting up some loads of stuff. If anyone does want to send me photos and things like that, there you make us great background art while me and Carlo talk about some other stuff. And the other stuff, Carlo, is the other piece of news, which is Greyjoys. They're out.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like it is news still, right? That
It
like
is still news.
Greyjoys have literally turned up in the UK. They're all over the place. I know a bit about it last week, but hey, look, Mickey actually has Greyjoys.
Yep.
Other NRG guys have Greyjoys. I think I hear it's only in the UK, not even all of Europe. I think I've heard some people in the EU are claiming that they're having boxes kind of delivered from the UK. So I don't think that's a Europe-wide release at the moment, unless anybody wants to say my local European German store or whatever has them in stock.
Yep.
I think it's a UK-only release at the moment. So big win for the UK. Second time that's ever happened.
I know, right? Firstly, just so if anyone's not seen the various unboxings that I know 3 Sales put out an unboxing last week, as is standard for 3 Sales, the guy a matter of knots. Can't ever complain about that. And yes, Shun, otherwise known as Scott, one of the guys from NRG, you can send over your Greyjoys if you want. I'll put them up if you want, because the guy's already painted them up. The guy's insane. But Scott sent his up. But yeah, it comes with the 2021 rulebook. It conveniently actually says on the rulebook, by the way, at the bottom there, version 2021, which I've never noticed before. Well, there you go. It comes with all.
I'm pretty sure the other ones say like 1.6.
They might do. I've not looked at the physical ones for forever. So the other thing is that we talked last week about replacement cards, right? What's actually confused me a little bit is I'll show this here. Okay, so the replacement cards: Victorian Lord of the Iron Fleet Commander card has got a replacement, and Victorian the Iron Captain attachment variant. Now, interestingly, the Iron Captain isn't his attachment variant. His attachment variant is now Master of the Iron Victory. His commander variant is the Iron Captain. The Lord Captain of the Iron Fleet doesn't exist. Which is very confusing to me, because it sounds like, a little bit, that they kind of printed the Greyjoys and then rebalanced them afterwards. I thought it was replacement cards. I thought it was errata. But no, the actual cards that are printed in this pack I've not opened are literally wrong. And they're not the cards that were originally meant to be printed. Again, we talked about it last week. I'm glad they've caught it. But I thought it was just they'd misworded it. No, they'd actually just printed off straight up the wrong cards. That's strange. A little bit.
It's possible. It's not impossible that they still printed the wrong cards, as in it's not impossible that they sent the wrong files to the printer. Like, they could have caught that. Like, not necessarily that they were like, oh no, we need to like rebalance that card. They're like, oh my god, you accidentally sent like old balance. Do you know what I mean? Like, what? Most of the cards are right, but that one was. Why did you send that file? That's the wrong file. Do you know what I mean? So like, version control in that way is possibly also a cause, a symptom or whatever, as opposed to them being like, oh no, we've decided to rebalance this card after choosing that its final print day deadline has already gone and passed, and we're like, nope, we're still rebalancing. It could actually just be that they sent the wrong card and caught it too late. I don't know, very weird. Like you say, very, very weird for them to have caught a problem post-printing, but be able to fix it such that it's in every box. And it's not even like they're an additional thing sent out with the box, right? They were inside the sealed box. Inside the sealed box, yeah. So new, but there we go.
The funny thing is that it's clearly an asset. It must be an asset mix-up, because the Victorian Commander cards have all got the Iron Captain on them. So it sounds to me like they've literally just uploaded the wrong assets, which is interesting because it comes back to a lot of discussion that we've had on here before, and a lot of discussion in the community, which is about asset control in general. I don't know how they do their asset control, and I don't want to sit here and say they're doing it wrong, but it seems to me like they are. Like, there's a lot of discussion.
Sounds like you do it. It sounds like you are saying that,
Yeah,
Mickey.
well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am
Classic.
saying that. I don't want to accuse them because I mean I'm no expert, right? I don't know how they deal, but it seems to me they have a lot of problems with version control, and they've mentioned this in multiple times now. We've seen it in the Greyjoy release, and they've talked about it in terms of the article release. People don't have the right assets all the time. Not that hard to get the right assets to the right people. Trust me, really not hard. Digital
Gotta be careful who you give them to, otherwise they'll end up all over the internet, though, Mickey.
Well, that's
you
true.
gotta watch out.
Yeah. Hashtag leaks, hashtag spoilers, hashtag ruining the game. Anyway, what a weird one. Yes, he's a captain, but his attachment is a lord. Sounds weird in terms of the books. Indeed, Kevin. I'm not going to try and work that one out, mate. Not worth my time. All right, then. So, that's that. Obviously, been enjoying all of Vlad's fantastic artwork as I've been chatting rubbish about that and opening things up. The models. Now, I know we talked about it last week. Sculpts. Scott kind of agreed with me here, and unfortunately, pictures don't really do them justice. And when I say don't do them justice, they don't really talk about the problems. I know. All we ever do is talk about issues here, isn't it? God, we're bad people. So,
you know.
I know, right? They are nice sculpts. They are nice sculpts. There's, I mean, you can clearly see on this banner here, the banner, you can just see the edge. My camera's a bit crappy. There's flashing on these. See that? Flashing is something that it occurs in model making. It's annoying, but you can deal with it, right? But actually, what's, I guess for me, and you can't really tell. You really can't tell on these images, and you can't tell unless you got them physically. And Scott can back me up. The models are detailed, right? But the detail's like really soft. I would say it's not really well defined detail, and to me it feels like they've been pulled out of the mold without enough plastic being in the mold. We're not talking about missing Melisandre's face here. We're not talking about that, like it's not that bad. But if I was to compare this to say a Free Folk starter box, I actually think the Free Folk starter box models are better. Not the sculpts, but the models.
I wonder. There is the ever so slight thing that different coloured plastics, right, can actually have an effect on mold quality.
Yeah.
There's also, I forget, they do still use two different plastics, right? They use a softer plastic for the body and a harder plastic for the arms and weapons, right? Is that still true?
I don't know. I don't know.
So definitely in older kits, like starter sets particularly, so they use a softer plastic only by a small amount for the main body bulk of the model, but that plastic isn't going to stand up to being like a long pole on a lance or a halberd, and it also doesn't make sharp pointed swords very well. So they use a harder plastic to make those parts. I believe that harder plastic basically has a significantly higher molding cost, and actually that's why they minimize the amount of parts that they have to use for it. And that slightly harder plastic is more like what you would get in a Games Workshop kit, and I think it leads to basically a slightly higher quality finish and a higher quality plastic in general, but is more expensive to make. So I feel like they've always been two-tone in that way. I can't put my finger on what's slightly wrong about them, but they're not the highest quality things that I've seen come out of a songbox.
That's the other thing Scott mentions as well, and you can just about see it. And I'm trying to get this picture in good light to see what we're talking about. You can just about see it there. I know it's super blurry. Bear with. This is not really a camera for doing this. It's a camera for doing maths with. But the whiteness you can see on the top of his leg there in the gaps here, and actually it's all over his leg, although you can't really see the detail. Mold release, right? As Scott says, it's the first models I've ever had from CMON that have had significant levels of mold release. And when I say significant, sit back and hold them even at arm's length, right? If I've got them over here, I can see the white powder on their guys' legs easily. Now, that's easy. You just wash it off, right? It's not a problem, not a concern. But it is a little bit kind of like another little thing where it's like, I feel the quality's dropped. I just feel the quality's dropped. I do suspect, and something that they might not have talked about, and I do wonder. I wonder if their factory's changed. I wonder if they've changed where they do
not impossible.
factories, because there's a good chance, because of things we know about before, things we've talked about on the channel before, factory leases could have meant that they changed the production area. I do wonder about that.
Yeah, it could have been to do with the previous early leaking of boxes, that they ended up moving away from that factory for, because for all intents and purposes, as far as we're aware, those boxes were coming directly from factory, not any distributors necessarily like releasing them early. It was the factory kind of releasing things on the side.
I will go as far as saying Asha, although she's kind of like an interesting model. I hate it. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to just be negative about it, but the pose is really weird, and like her head.
I think her hair is really weird. She looks like she's got a weird little afro thing.
She does. That's exactly what it looks like, and you can't really tell, but it's just a very strange model. Very strange model. It's very strange. Roderick's fine, although my Roderick seems to be bent at the legs the wrong way. As you can see, he's like leaning forward. So I'm gonna have to solve that one. And Aeron Greyjoy, this is a shame. You can just about see it here. Can you see the thin plastic where my finger is here? The thin levels of plastic at the top. It's just not up to scratch. It doesn't look defined. It doesn't look like a defined staff. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. And Victorian looks great. Victorian does look really good.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say with Victorian, his axe I thought was going to be bigger, like in terms of the axe head. It doesn't look
big enough, Mickey.
It is big enough, but he just doesn't look as imposing. If you stand him next to a Reaper, like he is taller, but the Reapers look more imposing because of that massive halberd, or glaive, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. No, not bad models by any stretch.
I agree with Kevin. I think that Victorian's the savior. Victorian's the savior of the box.
Yeah, definitely.
It seems to be partly the savior of the factory balance as well.
I don't know. I think people are liking Asher. I think as a commander, which is fair enough. As someone who is used to having Mance as an option, I can see why people want that. So anyway, yeah, that's the go through everything. I'm not going to show you literally everything, guys. But it's in case you hadn't seen it, and it was just my initial thoughts from getting it. Obviously, I'm still excited to have it, and great to have all the cards and stuff. I've got my great Greyjoy deck somewhere that I'm going to be putting them in once I can do that. I can't remember where I'll put it now.
From Blitz Minis.
Yeah, from Blitz Minis. Yeah, I'll get me 3-foot ones because I've got them handy already. Because always keep the 3-foot ones handy. But the Blitz Minis card backs, there's a 3-foot one. I haven't got the Greyjoy one at hand. I can't remember where I put it. Absolutely beautiful. They are not significantly cheap, by the way. If you're in Europe and you want to get these cards and things like that, you order a couple of packs and things and talk to Ben or the guys over at Blitz Minis. The postage isn't actually that expensive for worldwide postage. So I was able to get some for myself, Carlo, a couple of the other guys that we game with physically, and it only cost me about 30 quid by the end of it. About 6 or 7 lots of card packs and other stuff. And they are really nice. They're proper. They're lovely feel as well, honestly. Oh look, there's a shiny card I never use. Anyway, so they'll be going in there when I can be asked to sort that out and we'll find them. Okay then. Okay, let's get rid of that. So that's where we're at there. That's where we're at with those. They are out. They are available, and yeah, go and get them when you can, unless you're in the US. Yeah. What didn't come out, of course, was all the expansion.
I think somebody said maybe they're in the US in a warehouse somewhere, possibly, maybe.
Could well be.
Get them soon.
I'm not too far away from saying to people that you can get shipped over from the UK. But it's probably a big ask when we don't know exactly. I mean, if they're only going to be a couple of weeks behind, just buy them from your local stores. Keep them alive, keep them going, definitely. But I know the UK's got an abundance of stock. They are not even sold out. Like, I could probably ring up. I got mine from Gaming Figures in Redcar. Gavin Winspear, the guy who runs that, I could probably ring him up now, and he's probably still got stock left over. I could probably order one right now and get it delivered in like 2 days. It's crazy. And Carlo, well, before we move on from Greyjoys and all of that lovely stuff, how's your Greyjoy box that you won for free coming from Simon going?
You know what? I knew you were going to ask. Which is why I didn't just offer the information up. So I spoke to Simon Swan because he's the only one who can still sort this stuff out, even though it's not his job anymore. I asked some other people, so I didn't have to pester him with it, and they were like, "No, talk to Simon." Simon sorted me out himself off of his own back because he doesn't think because Simon would only be sending it to me from the US, and they're not out, and it will take time for them to come out in the US, time for Simon to respond, time for it to get shipped over from the US. So Simon being the absolute legend he is, sorted me out. So there you go.
Fair enough. You know when you're gonna be arriving next week sometime then, once he's got them sorted. I mean, you can't blame Simon. I mean, Simon really is like, you might not see eye to eye with him on everything, and I don't necessarily agree with everything he's ever done, but I can't fault the guy. I said this the other week. I can't fault the guy in terms of what he does and what he tries to do for the community.
If he's not involved anymore, I mean, I don't know whether or not he's involved at all, if he's doing anything anymore or just nothing. If he's not involved at all, then it's a big loss for the song community.
Definitely.
It is.
100%. And I'll be, as a voice of reason, which I think he always was, yeah, I think it's going to be a massive shame if he is gone for good. Anyway. Moving on from the news, we're going to go over to tournaments now, because there is some news on tournaments. There's some good things, there's some bad things. And what occurred to me, and I did it last week actually, what occurred to me was that we know that the tournament can run tournaments. Sorry, the tournament can run tournaments. The site can run tournaments. We know that. But we've never actually shown people how to run tournaments on the site, right?
Well, no, it's obvious, isn't it, Mickey?
Hey, 403 errors we thought were obvious, right? I'll point this out again because I was dealing with a couple more. I'll point this out live on stream. So if you watch our content, you probably already know, guys. But if you've got friends, family, colleagues, classmates, your mates' dogs, if anyone's using the site and they're getting the 403 error, okay? Because I've been acting as bloody customer service this week again. Go down to the bottom of the web page. I can't actually show this on here, hilariously, because I've got the cutout. Down at the bottom of the web page, there's a log out button, right? Just underneath my cursor here, there's a log out button.
Where Mickey's head is. Somewhere
literally here, right here. Exactly where it is. There's a log out button. Hit that log out button. Even if you're not logged in, if you're getting the 403 error, hit that log out button. All it is that Carlo can't code websites for shit, and he's left a kernel probably in there of code, and it's throwing an error up thinking you're logged in when you're not actually logged in. You log out, it goes, oh yeah, you're logged out now, that's all good. And then you can go about the site normally, log in, create your account, that so on and so forth.
Be careful what you wish for. Sometime soon, I'm going to just nuke everybody's profiles, and you'll wish that all you had to do was log out and log back in.
I know, right? So yeah, if you are watching this, do check that out. Yeah, do check that out before you. Oh, by the way, on any device, I had to help a guy. I thought he'd done it.
Device.
I actually literally had to open up like Firefox, or like I can't remember if I even opened I was gonna say Internet Explorer. That doesn't exist anymore. I nearly opened Edge to check it on Edge because I'd done it with everything else already. Oh man, fuck that platform, man. Edge is shite.
Opera or Opera or whatever it was called. Oh god.
Anyway,
different browsers.
So let's have a little look at tournaments. We've got some news coming out of some of them not so much. My internet's being quite slow today. There's been quite a few drop frames. I do apologise. You can tell that because the tournament site's running quite slowly today. Oh, look. We'll come and talk about that in a second. But yes, we had, of course, the Faction Masters. We'll go through these very quickly. There's no one of any note has won any of them, so that's fine. So, we'll start off...
Nobody you've ever heard of.
No one we've ever heard of, right? We start off with the Night's Watch Faction Masters. We saw Jon Snow pitted up against Mahoney Slaw. Got to get his name right, otherwise he'll kill us. Mahoney lost to Jon Snow or Brett, as we all know him by name now. Brett in the final round. So Brett won the Night's Watch mirror. Did you watch the game, Carlo? Did you have
I haven't seen it yet because I was playing at the same time. I played at the same time as their game was going on. I started an hour after and finished half an hour before.
Yep.
There you go. But I believe it's up on YouTube now, so it was streamed and it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it is. I didn't watch the game personally. I was doing other things like watching Marvel Cinematic Universe films and recording Carlo's game. Yeah, I believe it was quite a good game. I'll probably go have a little quick scan through it, see what happened. People said it's okay. It was John Mirror. John Mirrors are always a little bit kind of like, John Mirrors are always a little bit kind of like, things are alive still because how it works. Craig says pretty boring results. Fair enough. Fair enough, Bruce. I'll take your word for that. But yeah, no, congratulations to Brett for winning that one.
Yeah. Did anybody expect anything else?
Yeah, I mean, no, probably not. Not really. In the round 3, we saw Crag versus Spleen, and we saw Spleen win it with his Roos list against a Renly list. We've seen Spleen do this time and time again with this Roos list. It is just oppressive. He just nukes Rose Knights with Melisandre, closes them down with Walder, and then just comes and hits them, and hits them, and hits them. It is the ultimate kind of like burn list, if you will. And it works really well. We've seen him run this time and time again into these Baratheon mirrors, and it is just the pressure that he provides. And a lot of these Renly lists are not running Varys. Yeah? The moment you don't run Varys...
shuts that list down so hard. Why I really don't understand it. My absolute go-to would 100% have been Courtney and Varys. You know, like... I think that they're the power pieces of the Baratheon faction. Varys the power piece of nearly everybody. But like, if you know that Roos triple setup exists, the biggest, most consistent thing you can do is stop the Zoics and stop him from turning it into two panic tokens. As soon as you keep the panic tokens off yourself, your 6+ morale with possible Renly bubbles or possible Courtney healing, possible weirwood trees, you should be able to dictate where you're taking tests. Those odds actually move massively into your favor. That actually you won't get double tapped, and your opponent will lose 6 models to kill 6 models. So I can't believe that there was no Varys there to stop it, or not consistently. I can't believe that it went 3 wins, because I think that it can get some wins, but not string together enough wins consistently. But what do I know? You know?
Yeah.
I played Lannisters. So.
Exactly. Spleen, a very good player. He went undefeated in the TSL. With Baratheons as well. So I can't take anything away from Spleen, obviously. But it is definitely something that I saw as a common theme between a lot of those lists, was that no Varys does mean that combo is just not shut down at all. With one of the most oppressive NCUs in terms of Walder, one of the most negative play experiences in terms of Melisandre, and a good combo piece with Commander Roos for Melisandre. Yeah, I can understand why that list did well into Baratheons, because the tempo isn't there to claim it back. Okay then. So that was the Baratheons. I didn't see the game, admittedly. I believe it was streamed. Go check out Deoxys 2500. His stream will no doubt have it on. He's back to normal Australian time, so he's not awake at this time during the and that brings us on to the Faction Masters for Lannisters. Now, I'm not going to say too much about this game because it is recorded, and Carlo is going to be putting a video together for this to come out this week, he says. Don't know when. But Carlo won it. Spoiled the video, but Carlo did win it. You can check out that result online anyway. Is there anything you want to say without saying too much about the game?
To spoil the video further.
Yep.
To spoil the video further, I was so confident that I would win that more than in any of the other videos that I've done before, I actually outright stated in the lead up that I would win. That's how confident I am in that Tyrion list. I can't believe anybody didn't think it was going to win. People were like, "Oh my god, be scared of his Joffrey list," and I'm like, "No." I don't know. What can I say? Furioku actually resigned. That's why it's not a crushing win. I don't know how to feel about the tournament. I think I played pretty well. It was the first time I've been playing Lannisters really competitively for the first time in a year. Tiniest bit rusty in my first game, but really got back into it, and I think I played well in the other two. It feels good to win, but I don't feel that with there being multiple tournaments going on, that it was necessarily the strongest field. You know what I mean? That's not like the players that I played were weak. Obviously, every one of those players, but it's not like as a pure example, I still think that I couldn't say that I'm the best Lannister player because there are really, really, really good Lannister players out there who didn't enter the tournament. You know, Van didn't enter. I really wish he would have. Then we could have seen whether or not he's as good as I think he is. And also, you know, Deoxys didn't enter, who has beaten me in the past in a Lannister mirror a long time ago, though. So, you know, I did actually really want to have a chance to play him again. So, you know, I think that I would have won the Baratheon.
I don't know how the Night's Watch came out to that. I'll be brutally honest.
But if all the best Lannister players entered, I don't necessarily know if I would have won the Lannister one. So I don't know. I think that they were great tournaments. I think that to make people think about list building in a different way is always important. I wouldn't have built those lists into a completely open meta. They're specific to the Lannister mirrors, and that I thought about it enough and understood the Lannister mirror is why I think it ended up being such an easy tournament for me. Well, you know, so there's some pros and there's some cons. I just wish that there were more strong players playing the game right now because 8 people, even if it's 8 really strong people, doesn't feel like I took on the best in the game.
And that's actually the kind of point I was going to bring out. We had 4 tournaments with 8 players in each. We effectively had 32 players. And we said earlier we'd cover this. The online scene is kind of dying out. And I don't mean that as in like, oh my god, the online scene is dying. But the burnout is properly real. We saw 32 players play this tournament. And we've got another tournament that's loading up purely for people to play games. That's not really a tournament. It's more just like a Friday Night League style thing, you know, just for an online games while we wait. And we're only got 14 players for that. I'm not expecting people to be like, oh my god, we should go and play that. That's designed for people to play casually and a bit more kind of chill. So I wouldn't expect a big turnout. But if all we can muster is like that level of player right now, it does just go to show you how far, and it's not burnout, it's people just kind of don't want to play. And that sucks. That actually does suck.
I thought it was crazy that we didn't manage to field a Stark or neutral or free folk Masters tournament. Like we couldn't, you know, Deoxys couldn't get together 8 people for that. To be honest, he was scraping around for the last couple of people to enter some of the tournaments. So yeah, it's not thriving. That like it's absolutely not thriving. No matter how much effort people are putting into like trying to keep people engaged, keep people active. You know, it's limping on.
It is. It's good to know that Hicks actually said there, I'll be back and playing 24/7 as soon as 2021 drops. Yeah, and I think a lot of people will be, actually. I think a lot of people will return and keep playing. And that's great. And that's actually one thing I did want to say is that I do think there's a lot of people lurking. What I've seen a lot more recently, and this is linked to kind of the news I wanted to say, but wasn't really anything to mention it in the news proportion, is that I've seen over the last week, 2 weeks, a slow build up of players. There's been quite a few new players who are saying, like, I'm new to the game, want to get started. I know that there's an update coming, and I just want to know a little bit more about the update. But you know, I'm also getting into a new faction, and I'm starting to see life again. I want to give a shout out to the guys over in the East Anglia group, the UK East Anglia group, because I think there's only like 40 people on the site there, but it's suddenly got really active. Like there's loads of people posting and loads of people like keen.
Find these guys?
I don't know, but the game is coming back, right? The game is starting to build momentum again, and I think people are looking forward to the end of lockdown now, which is in the UK. I mean, we are still in lockdown. I know I'm still traveling all over the northeast teaching again and things like that. We're allowed outside for work. I know, right? Nightmare. But essentially, the UK they reckon in the next month. Well, I mean, we've passed 15 rate or something like that now. It's crazy. We reckon in the next month herd immunity is going to be reached, and that basically we'll just become full, like no lockdown whatsoever. Basically, no rules from like a month's time.
The Wild West.
It's going to be crazy, right? It's going to be absolutely crazy. Yeah, I mean, great. People are going to be out playing again. People are going to be out playing again. And yeah, and as Hobbit says there, a lot of people are waiting for the drop, and people I think now, actually, ironically, Simon have gone silent, and yet I think now is when people are the most the most anticipation is right now, and that's when people are joining, and I think the game will do okay when this drops and lockdown ends. If they two coincide quite well, I think you're going to get a massive boom, and the game's going to do okay.
Maybe Simon have got next level strats, which is that, you know, they've actually just been delaying until lockdown's over. But that doesn't really work because surely US is their biggest market, and US isn't really in lockdown in the same way that we are.
No.
So, you know, people have been playing, having tournaments in stores, doing all sorts of stuff, obviously within certain guidelines and certain limitations, but people have been playing in the US. It's different there, so they can't have possibly meant that.
I'm optimistic in the UK though. Looking good. And there's certainly options there, and we've seen we talked about the guys from Swindon, guys over at Firestorm and places like that reopening. Places down in London and things like that starting to say, yeah, get things sorted. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. On that note, sorry, we didn't talk about it. The Targ one, the Targ final has not been played. The Targ final between Tobho and Dark Angel has not been played. I believe they're going to be playing in a day or two time, so it'll be the Tuesday or the Wednesday at some God forbidden hour, because they're both Australian / Singapore Indonesian area. So it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning for us or something like that. So yeah. If only they set a release date. Yeah, Mikkel, definitely. Talked about that earlier, actually. All right then. So that's the tournament stuff there from the Faction Masters. Pretty good tournament. I think everyone agreed. Everyone who took part enjoyed it, and really liked the different challenge it mustered. Now, the Spanish guys, they've been running tournaments. As we know, their tournaments are still going ahead. Yeah?
Don't just fly ahead.
Go on.
Who's the world's #1 ranked player again?
Oh, that's power rankings. I don't want that. I have to do this, guys.
This guy is back #1.
I have to do this because Carlo's a tosser. And
I'm actually super pleased that I'm back number one. Not because I'm back number one, but because it's been annoying me for a long time that the Viper was number one, a player who kicked the game to the curb about 6 months ago, it seems. Guy isn't interested in playing the game anymore, doesn't appear on TTS, completely got rid of it ever since he came along and overtook. Ever since Larks lost some games, dropped down behind him. It's kind of annoyed me that he's been number one. And a lot of what I've been working on for the 2021 update is that something like that won't happen again in the future, where a player who just ups and quits the game just keeps their ranking forever. Because like a true ranking system doesn't necessarily have decay in it, but it creates this fakeness. So I'm glad that anybody has taken number one away from him. It's nice that it's me.
Spleen's up there though as well, and the ever-present Larks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, great. It's fantastic, as we know. To see.
Great.
I know,
Fantastic.
right? I don't actually care. I think you're a tosser. Anyway,
I know.
no, it'd be good to play more games. It's good to play, and good to see more games go ahead. I'm really disappointed the Free Folk tournament didn't go ahead, to be honest, because I would have loved to play Free Folk in mirror matches constantly. But instead, I got to play Targs, and I hate Mother of Dragons. I just hate it so much. I'll be super honest with you. The mirror I thought would be interesting. The mirror is not interesting. Like I thought it was. It's really not. Because there's ways to play the mirror, builds to play the mirror that are just. This is now whoever, not even whoever makes a mistake.
5 is
yeah.
5 is Gravivox, which is
Yes.
it is Yecat.
Yep.
Yecat's miniatures.
Yeah, it is. Ecats is in at number 5. West. Make a flag to mark unactive players and just sort them out in your 1,000,000%. Sure, he's off from the game. Yeah, potentially could mark an inactive player. I do like the decay. I like the decay because even if you just decay, decay is difficult because it means that you're taking ELO out of the system, which is not.
Whereas it's currently a completely pure balance system, which is it's like Bitcoin. There's a finite amount. There's a finite amount of ELO in existence.
And the finite amount is based on the number of players. So the more players, the greater it is. If you were to add decay, how would you implement it in a way that just reduced someone's ranking over time, or would it have like a bleed into the system?
It would. The things I've been looking at. So effectively, it reduces everybody's ranking. Everybody above 1,500 always loses an amount of ranking at periods of time. But as you say, that means that we're losing ELO from the system. So you have to inject it back in by you give winners more than losers lose. But it's a very, very careful balance because you don't just want to make it a system of whoever plays the most ends up top.
Yeah.
That's what the pure ELO system is perfect for because it doesn't favor you for just playing more. And we don't ask that question, Carl.
Yeah, in case you aren't aware, Carlo's not been doing a huge amount of work.
Well, I haven't been up here. I have been thinking about it, but yeah.
The guy's kind of bummed at the moment because having known with the reveal we talked about earlier with the 2021 balance coming out potentially next week. Now it'll be next week on War Council. If it does drop next week on War Council, the long and short of it is Carlo's not ready.
I ain't ready.
We haven't talked too much about this, but we are going to talk about this. We do talk after the shows usually. We don't talk a lot during the week most of the time. We talk a lot on the Mondays. What I think we might do as an interim, as just a way of getting things working for the moment, is when 2021 drops, we'll update the builder to have the new items in it because that needs to be done anyway. we can get all the assets and things uploaded and sorted. Like, that's not a problem. But the actual updates to the site might come later, I'm thinking, is what we might have to end up doing. And why me? By we, the royal we, I mean Carlo. But that's what we'll talk about
As
that today.
always. I'm brutally honest, I've been working on other projects. That's actually the real problem is that I'm working on another project with some other people, and between other project, I don't have time to finish off the things that I want to finish off. So yeah, you know, it's not lack of caring; it is actual genuine lack of time. I actually just don't have enough time in the day to get all the projects done. The other project is supposed to have something of a deadline, which is coming out at supposedly Lucas's rough War Council deadline. So if they're even a week or two delayed by that, then it would then I'd probably be far more likely to to achieve it.
We'll look at something though in the meantime, because obviously the worst thing we want to do is not have an updated site in the period where a bunch of people then want to run tournaments off the back of 21 dropping. That would not be too great. And yeah, we do think they'll release it next week. Well, on War Council, we're led to believe that due to Lucas's amazing news. I'll show that back up again if people missed that earlier in the.
I mean, I don't think next week. I'm thinking 2 weeks from now. But what do I know?
Exactly, what do we know?
Like at best, a week and a Thursday. A week and a Thursday from now. I feel like if they were gonna do a Visions on a Thursday, it would be just the same as the Greyjoys, and it'd just be like, oh, by the way, they're up. And that's how it'd
go. So yeah, other news, and this is a awesome one, by the way, in the realm of tournaments, which Carlo's probably aware of because he does look at the site a lot, but a lot of people won't be aware of. The other day, Austrian tournament, the Battle of the Wailing Ford, popped out of nowhere, run by Mopsy123, and he is going to be getting people to sign up, as you can see there. He's getting people to sign up, his friends over in an Austrian group, and is one of the things he was talking to me about and he wanted help with when I was chatting to him, and he's getting things sorted. So Austria guy Mopsy was like, oh, I really love the site, really love what we're doing, you know, what you guys are doing with it, I think it's awesome. And he's getting all his mates to sign up and use the site as well. So hopefully, you know, coming out of it, physical tournament being run on the site in Austria, and that's in June. So I'll get in contact with Mopsy, see how he's getting on closer to the date, and hopefully everything goes well. I'm looking forward to that, to be honest. I'm looking forward to seeing some literally physical results. No idea who these people are. Want to see 30-point tournaments. Cool, love it. Forward to it. So that's the Battle of the Wailing Ford. So yeah, big shout out to the Austrian guys there. Big huge shout out to them. All right, and that leaves it with, I guess, the last thing we need to do, which is actually show people how to run tournaments. No. So tournaments. I did say we'd do this quickly. Carlo, you've obviously done this. Creating your own tournament. You saw me do that last week. You kind of lock lists, lock the tournament options there. This is what you'll see as a player. In the kind of like area here, you can see everyone's lists are uploaded. Mine are not. I'll upload mine in a second. You see sportsmanship scores as well. Obviously, no one's entered them, but as the tournament admin, you can see this. Can't be seen by anybody else. So if you are looking at running a tournament, you can see all the spirit scores here, the average scores, and so on and so forth. So really handy there in case you haven't run it before. I can see everyone's lists. Now I know that I haven't uploaded mine yet, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm cheating. But I have already got my lists actually written, I believe. I have to double check if I've saved them, actually, now I think about it. But as a tournament organizer, you can go through and see all the different lists before you start the tournament. So it's up to you as a tournament organizer, if you are entering, to just be aware and make sure you're not cheating. But yeah, so 14 players for the tournament we're running now. This is great. Sign up process, you can add new profiles, existing profiles, pretty useful. So you can force someone to enter. If they're not already entered, so it's useful if you've got someone who can't access the internet for whatever reason. So I'm definitely going to add Carlo now because he should be playing. No, I'm not, but you get the general gist. Adding new profiles, you can add new players to the tournament, give them a name, and it is possible after the tournament has loaded, after the tournament has been run, and someone does create a profile off the back of it, we can assign those tournament results to that player's name. We can link the stuff across. That has to be done manually, though, right? Is that Carlo?
Yeah.
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 We have to do
Nobody yet has come to me and asked to have their profile linked.
Yeah.
So either they don't know that it can happen, or nobody who won't sign up and enter a tournament by themselves wants to come back and have their setup linked afterwards.
Yeah, it is an option though. So I do recommend checking it out. I do recommend having a little think about that, because it does mean you can sign your mates up, and then if later on down the line it's not going to hold you back from running the tournament at all, and if later down the line they do want to make a profile or whatever, you can just sign up for that stuff. That's not a problem at all. Rounds, obviously, it's not locked, so you won't see any
It's a
stuff.
million times better for the DO though if you make your own profile and sign yourself up.
It is.
That's the way it's designed to be used. It's just in case someone's being stubborn and won't sign up.
Yeah. In terms of the tournament, as I said, I'll lock it and run the first round basically in this thing, just so you see what it's like. I can see someone asked, was it Craig? Did anyone include Walder? 2 NCU double list there from Scabman, big man.
How about you upload your own list, Mickey? How about we do that?
Someone's gone for Varys. Ooh, big man's gone Varys. Groose. Disappointed, mate. Disappointed relying on Varys there, but he is playing Greyjoy, so that's kind of fair. We got a Walder Frey.
Come on, Mickey, stop clicking around.
But that's in neutral.
Upload tournament there. The buttons right there.
Actually, hang on. I have to check to make sure I've got the lists written and which what they're called again.
Now he suddenly wants to change commanders, change faction. Oh, he's seen all the lists. These are all the no-nos, by the way. Mickey's going through all the bloody no-nos. I never ever look at other people's factions lists or commanders before a tournament if I'm entering myself.
So it's Targ Miro Vargo. That's the one I want for Vargo. And where is he? Targ Miro Vargo. Let's just upload him quickly. Vargo, Targ Miro Vargo. And the other one I want is lol, not those for week 1. Oh, I don't.
So for those who don't know, it automatically will filter the lists that you have via what commanders and faction that you've picked and the points limit for the tournament. It won't let you upload a list which doesn't meet the requirements. So if your list doesn't appear, give the page a refresh maybe, but chances are your list doesn't meet the requirements for the event. Maybe it's got Kickstarter exclusives in, and it says that that they're not allowed, or maybe your list just is a 50-point list, or it's you're not allowed to sign up your list for that reason. Then all you have to do is edit your entry.
Yep. That's right. Is that the right way around, or is it the way around? I think. This is proper.
Haven't you selected lists can be changed anyway?
Yeah, they can be. But we're locking them. We're locking them at the start of each week, changing them at the start of the week, locking them so you get a bit of time to see what your opponent's running. So when it comes to the actual game itself, you know what the opponents are running. That's all.
Right.
So that's just the way we're running this particular event. I think that's right. Or am I running it the other way around? I think that's right. No, that's right. This is a proper meme list, by the way. This is, I don't think very good, but I think it's hilarious, and I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. So
Big Boy Belwas.
Big Boy Belwas. I have actually, I've made this list before. I clearly forgot to save it. There we go. So I can upload that. The only problem
you have to refresh the page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll upload these, and we'll run the first round, so you can see what it's like. You're taking screenshots for a friend. Brilliant, Kevin. That's what it's about. You could also just direct them to this, Kevin. Direct them to this. Direct them to the site, and this episode of Tourney Ground number 40, and they can see it all live happening. So I want. Really? Come on, you can find my lists.
See you later, Carl. I don't know if Kevin. I wonder if Kevin's actually, being sarcastic and saying that you're taking screenshots for a friend while you look through everybody. Oh, Bruce wanted me to look at everybody's lists, so I had to. All right,
Okay.
Mickey. Well, you look at everybody else's lists.
My stuff's in. I was tempted to run Night's Watch because I think Night's Watch are great, but I think it would be unfair to be honest. But yeah, there we go. So I've uploaded my lists. Vargo and Belwas. I think that Vargo list is terrible for this, but hey ho. So there we go. We want to hit. Where am I? I'm an idiot, aren't I? Tournament info. Lock the tournament. There we go. So we are there, and the rounds we want. I could choose to manually pair them all up. So I could choose to manually pair. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to avoid club pairings. I don't think there are any club members. I don't think there's any. But game mode, I'm just going to select one. Carlo, choose a game mode. Go on. Your choice.
Yeah, Clash.
Clash Kings.
Go for Clash.
Clash Kings. Boom. Let's go.
Yeah.
We didn't draw one randomly, I know, but it's just a thing. Carlo can choose. He's not even in the tournament. It doesn't matter to him at all. So there we go. So you can see there, I've been matched up against Flixie, which is fantastic. The guy from Rotterdam White Scars. Absolutely lovely bloke, as always. So yeah, I'll obviously play against Joran, and we'll have some fun there. I think he's playing Baratheons. So hey, Baratheon versus Targ. That's gonna be a fun matchup for round one. Yeah. All of the ones there. We can see the rest of rounds there. So Deoxys versus Mongoose, Scamman versus Mr. Ray, me versus Flixie, Groose versus Leica. Well, that'd be a good game actually. Zero Talk versus Winter is Coming. That's probably going to be a good game as well. And Jesse versus Bloodraven. Oof, Jesse. That's going to be a hard game to start off with. Bloodraven playing Lannisters as well. That's going to be fun. And Song of Ice and Fire Noob versus Jon Snow Groupie. Apparently John's
welcome to the tournament scene.
Welcome to tournaments. Yeah, obviously it is fun. It's all fun and games. It's just meant to be a casual thing. So we'll see how that goes. Ready your lists, organise your games as per usual. We've got till I'm going to run the tournament Sunday through Sunday, but effectively use Monday as a day for you after the tournament round is over to change lists and everything. And I will run the next round every week on the tournament. While we're waiting for 2021, it doesn't take 20 minutes. We can do it live on the show. Why not? This is just to get you guys, running tournaments and used to seeing how tournaments are run in the build-up to 2021, where, of course, we'll be hopefully seeing lots of tournaments come out. Not just TTS, though, of course, physical as well. Yeah, that's how it works. If you can, as an admin, enter, you can notice here, I can enter game results myself. So if for whatever reason someone doesn't have a game, I could say, look, they played those and enter the results there. It's not the end of the world. So if you are running a physical tournament and you don't want people uploading the lists automatically, as long as they fill in a tournament sheet with the commander they played, the VPs they scored, and ideally the points destroyed as well, you can just have them fill that in, which is what they should be recording pretty much anyway. And then you can just quickly knock that in as the TO, submit the result, done. It won't take you 2 seconds as a TO. To do that manually in a physical tournament. Once all the results are in, choose the next round.
I hope Brett's watching this because somehow Brett manages to break tournaments every single time.
Yeah, Brett should be watching this.
I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea how he breaks it, but he always does.
So once you've done that,
that's all you've got to do, Brett. Press the button once, mate. Just press them once.
Yeah. Once you've done that, you choose your next game round for round 2, hit the Swiss pairing. You can, of course, keep the avoid club pairings if you want. You can, of course, remove that after round 1. You might, depending on where you're at, you might choose that for round 1 and round 2, depending on how big the tournament is. Hit that Swiss button, and it will give you round 2, so on and so forth. We'll show you that next week when, of course, we do it live on stream. Anyway, so that is how you run a tournament. Any questions, obviously, you know where we are at. Just ask questions. Ask us in the Discord as well. We don't mind helping out with people if there are problems, as long as it's like legitimate issues rather than I didn't look and I didn't try. Average player rating for this tournament, 1540. That's not a terrible rating. Players. Anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's solid.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how the first round goes. We'll report on it, see how people are doing. It is just a casual thing, really. It's just a way of getting people to play games while we wait. But yeah, we'll update with that. And I guess we'll finish off with only one thing left to do. and that is to show you this absolutely beautiful picture here, which is Greyjoy's painted up by none other than Scott. Scott
NRG.
from NRG, who is actually a pretty good painter. This isn't just like me saying, oh, he's one of our mates, he's good. No, he's legit actually pretty good. He's a graphic designer by trade, and he understands like color and things like that quite well. But yeah, absolutely spot on Greyjoys that he's already painted up. Still think he's obviously got to finish the bases and things. So yeah, looking awesome.
Look good.
Yeah.
Look good.
Before we go, Carlo.
Can't wait to buy 'em. Hopefully, oh my god, NRG on some like maybe like in-person battle reports. Wouldn't that be like mind blown?
In person. Are you working on any hobby stuff at the moment, or have you not got time?
No. Behind me on the table. I don't know if people can see. Not really. Here is set up what I do currently hobbying, which is playing Marvel Champions. Playing Marvel Champions, which is a either solo or two-player card game against the deck. I play a lot of Marvel Champions. That's mostly what I do at the moment. So yes, more than painting, that's what I do. That's my hobby time.
I have
outside of monumental amounts of coding.
I have skirted around not doing anything in Song of Ice and Fire, and done water bases or like in prep for Greyjoys and things, and painting up a massive eagle, which people on the TSL Discord may have seen before. And I'm going to base some Minotaurs, either today or tomorrow, because I need to get them sorted and some wraiths as well. But yeah, I need to get my Greyjoys as well. So yeah, keep your hobbying going as well, guys. As much as me and Carlo love the tournaments and the stats, and we care about the game more than the hobby itself, really. We are hobbyists as well. We actually do appreciate good painted stuff and well-modeled stuff. So as I said, if anyone's got any pictures or anything they want to send, so they have them up on here while we talk about some crap, like we always do, feel free to drop them in a Discord message to me or a Facebook message over to me. It's absolutely fine, and I'll prepare them for the next week. And they make a nice little breeze for something to look at while we talk about some crap. Finished there, Carlo? I think we're done, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Cool. So, guys, we'll be back again. We will probably not have any visions to talk about, but you never know. Never know. They might have released that famed article that they told us to vote on. Yeah, not anymore. There might even be a full 2021 release by that point. Who knows? But yeah, I guess have a great week.
I'm up in full panic mode, like absolutely trying to get a builder update or something like that. After they just crap 2021 on my head. So yeah, I mean,
it's a 3-day weekend, isn't it? All right, and guys, next week we will catch you. Catch you next week on Monday as usual, our May Day bank holiday. So I'll have all day to prepare an episode. There's going to be so many amazing things. I wanted to have a quick shout out to Marwin the Mage, as he's known on the main Discord. Last week he said he does actually enjoy the show, and I said to him I'd try and get some nice graphs and statistics pumped up for him. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get any of that done. I had quite a busy weekend writing curriculum plans. So I'm sorry, Marwin. I appreciate your commitment to the cause and things like that. But I'll try and knock up some graphs and some just interesting things for next week, even if they mean nothing. Who doesn't like some pretty pictures?
It's absolutely resounding feedback, isn't it, when people say, I do actually kind of quite like the show.
I know, right?
That's the best feedback we ever get. Nobody's like, oh my god, I love what you do. It's just like, yeah, I don't actually hate you guys.
I listen, and I think you guys have some good points. Hey, this keeps us going, right? Anyway, guys, you have a great week, and we will see you all on next Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your first round of tournament. See you later.